They lied to you. Every single person who told you the Shield was done, that Roman Reigns had moved on, that Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose, Jon Moxley would never stand under those same floodlights together again, they lied straight to your face. And the worst part? WWE let them. For years, they let you grieve the trio like they were gone forever. They sold you that heartbreak. They Monetized your nostalgia. And then Triple H walks into a room, picks up the phone, and in one move, rewrites the entire landscape of professional wrestling. Drop everything you're doing right now. Because if you scroll past this video, you are going to be the last person in your circle to find out what just happened. And trust me, everybody is talking about this. Beat drop music hits. Let's get into it. Segment 1, setting the scene. To understand why this reunion hits so different, you have to understand what the vision actually is and why, quietly, behind the scenes, it has become the most suffocating, dominant faction WWE has seen in over a decade. Paul Heyman's fingerprints are all over the vision. The architecture of this group, the messaging, the slow methodical dominance, the way they've been booked to make every other superstar on the roster feel small, that is Heyman's genius at work. They don't just win matches. They consume storylines. They absorb momentum. They make the WWE Universe feel like there is no alternative, no hero, no cavalry coming over the hill. And that was working. Beautifully. Devastatingly. Fans were frustrated. Furious, even. Social media was a war zone every single Monday and Friday night. Comment sections were flooded with people saying WWE creative had completely lost the plot, that nobody on the roster had the juice to stand up to the vision and make it feel real. Triple H heard all of it. And he didn't just hear it, he took notes. Segment 2, the reveal. Here's what we know. Triple H, in what sources inside WWE are calling one of the most secretive creative decisions in recent memory, has been quietly orchestrating the return of all three Shield members to the same storyline orbit. This wasn't thrown together. This wasn't a panic move because ratings dipped. This was planned. Layered. Built like a slow burn that most people didn't even realize was happening until the pieces were already in place. Think about it. Think about every cryptic promo. Every lingering camera shot. Every time Seth Rollins said something on the microphone that felt like it was aimed at somebody who wasn't in the building. The breadcrumbs were there. We just weren't reading the trail right. Roman Reigns' return alone sent shockwaves through the entire industry. But Roman coming back as himself, not the tribal chief, not the head of the table with Heyman whispering in his ear, Roman coming back as the guy who once stood in a SWAT vest and said, "Believe in the Shield," that changes the entire DNA of the story. And then you add Seth, the visionary. The man who has arguably been the most consistently excellent performer in all of professional wrestling for the better part of a decade. Seth Rollins in a Shield context is not a step backward, it is a nuclear upgrade. Because Seth now has something he didn't have the first time: edge, bitterness, and a chip on his shoulder the size of a WrestleMania set. And then there's Moxley. Jon Moxley coming back to WWE, even if it's temporary, even if its special attraction is the kind of move that makes the entire wrestling world stop scrolling and start watching. Moxley is not a character anymore. He's a force of nature. He is the last person on earth who operates with zero regard for politics, positioning, or perception. When Mox shows up, things get violent. Things get real. Put all three of them together? Under one banner? Against the vision? Triple H didn't just book a reunion. He built a war. Segment 3, why this makes people furious in the best way. Now here's where I need you to really think, and I want you to drop your honest opinion in the comments below, because this is genuinely dividing the fanbase right now. There is a significant group of WWE fans who are absolutely livid about this. Not because they hate the Shield, nobody hates the Shield, but because the argument is this: WWE has a locker room full of hungry, young, talented superstars who have been begging for a chance to step up and be the ones to slay the vision. Guys who have been putting in 5-star matches on SmackDown and Raw every week, carrying shows, and getting a polite golf clap from creative before being shuffled back down the card. And instead of giving them the rocket ship, instead of creating the next Shield, the next generational force, Triple H reaches back into the vault and pulls out the 2012 vintage. Is that the right call? Here's the other side of that argument, and it is equally compelling. You cannot manufacture what the Shield represents to WWE audiences. You cannot manufacture that emotional investment. There is no shortcut to the kind of pop that building is going to erupt with when that iconic entrance music hits and all three men walk out through the crowd. That is a once-in-a-decade moment. And if the goal is to stop the vision, truly stop them in a way that feels earned and massive, then you need something that carries equal or greater cultural weight. The Shield carries that weight. The Shield is that weight. Segment for the Alliance and what it means. Let's talk about the word Triple H actually used, and this is important: alliance. Not reunion. Not reformation. Alliance. That language is deliberate. These three men are not going back to being a faction with matching gear and synchronized Shield music every entrance. This is something more fluid, more dangerous, and frankly more interesting. An alliance implies shared purpose without shared ego. It implies three apex predators who have all walked their own paths, paid their own prices, and come back together not out of nostalgia but out of necessity. That framing alone elevates the entire storyline above a simple nostalgia pop. Because when Seth Rollins stands next to Roman Reigns and Jon Moxley, there should be tension in that alliance. There should be history. There should be unspoken things that could detonate at any second. That is rich, layered storytelling. And if WWE executes it even half as well as the concept deserves, we are looking at a WrestleMania build for the ages. The vision is not going to roll over. Let's be clear about that. Whatever Paul Heyman has been constructing, whatever pieces are on that chessboard, they did not build this faction to hand it a loss at the first sign of resistance. This war is going to be ugly. It is going to be violent. There will be double crosses. There will be moments where it looks like the Shield alliance is completely falling apart. That's what makes it must-see television. And Triple H, the game himself, he knows how to build that kind of story. He lived it. Segment 5: the stakes and the question nobody wants to ask. But here is the question that I guarantee you is keeping people up at night in the WWE universe. What happens if the Shield loses? Not just a match. What happens if the Vision dismantles them? What happens if this alliance, the most emotionally loaded grouping in WWE history, comes up short? What does that do to the legacy? What does that do to the fans who invested everything into this comeback emotionally? Because that is a real possibility. And if you think Triple H isn't willing to go there, you haven't been paying attention to how he books. He is not afraid of the dark. He is not afraid of the complicated ending. The Shield has already been broken once. The most devastating moment in recent WWE history is arguably the night Seth Rollins drove the chair through the group's heart. Audiences never fully healed from that. What if history repeats? What if the whole point of this alliance is to show that even legends cannot stop the Vision? Drop your thoughts in the comments right now. Do you think Triple H is setting the Shield up to win or setting them up as the ultimate sacrifice to make the Vision look truly unstoppable? I genuinely want to know what this community thinks, because this is one of those storylines where the IWC is split right down the middle. Closing build to end card. Here's what I know for certain. This is the most buzz WWE has generated in years. The dirt sheets are on fire. Twitter, Threads, YouTube, every wrestling community on the internet is talking about nothing else. And the beautiful, maddening truth is that we don't yet know how this ends. That uncertainty? That electricity in the air? That feeling like anything could happen? That's what great wrestling does. Triple H just reminded everyone, fans, critics, competitors, and every wrestler in that locker room, that WWE can still make the world stop and stare. The Shield. The Vision. The war is coming. And Ring Rumble 1 will be here for every single second of it. If this video opened your eyes, smash that like button, share it with every wrestling fan you know, and subscribe if you haven't already. Drop your Shield Alliance predictions in the comments. I read every single one. And stay tuned, because the next video is going to be even bigger than this one. Believe that. Characters, tone, intense, opinion driving, fan engaging, CTA placements, mid-script plus close. The script is structured with a cold silence hook, 5 punchy segments, and a closing call to action engineered to drive comments and shares. The "What if the Shield loses" segment is specifically designed to spark debate and keep viewers in the comments long after the video ends.